What is up, everybody? It's another episode of the RossduhBoss Show. Gas prices are crazy. To watch this, you probably had to fart out $4 yourself. Biden's not taking responsibility for any of it, and there's a ton of gay stuff. Guys, it has been a crazy long week. Again, every single week is a long week when you are walking in clown world. We all know it, but there's fun stuff to watch this week. But I want to start off with I want you guys to know that we know how annoying it is to be in your shoes right now. Because every time we cross the gas station here on the East Coast, it's like $5 now. On the West Coast, it's like $6.15, some places $6.30, whatever. It's insane. You now have to decide whether you should go pick up a pizza because it might cost you more than if you ordered one. You get it? Because the gas prices. Problem is that a lot of these things could be mitigated. So there's people that are bending over all across the country to try and help people with gas prices. Ron DeSantis is doing things to cut the taxes that the state takes from the gases and all that stuff. But there's a guy locally who's doing some pretty cool stuff. Why don't you pull that up, Tina?
We're getting a lot of use lately.
This is literally the only place in Phoenix where you can get it under like $5.50 right now.
It's a sign of the times, but driving by a gas station and seeing $5.19 a gallon is a bargain in Phoenix right now.
Finding gas at an affordable price is key.
James McGarry lives right down the street from this station. He comes here twice a week to fill up.
There's no point in going anywhere else.
While people like James are saving at the pumps, the owner is losing money.
I never counted how much we lose, how much we gain, you know.
Jaswinder Singh is buying gas from his supplier at $5.66 a gallon, but he sells it for 47 cents less. Around 1,000 gallons are pumped here each day, so Singh is actually losing out on nearly $500 a day, but he says it's worth it.
To break to the customer, my community, you know, people don't have money right now.
Singh and his wife are working extra.
Dude, that's the truth, man. I appreciate that. Maybe he's selling some more of them $8 biscuits. Let me tell you, all the Indian people that came into the country that run the gas stations, I like them. I just like them. They're always legit.
That's really, think about that. $500 a day, that adds up. And what, even 10 days, that's already $5,000?
Yeah, so he's losing $15,000 a month, basically.
I mean, think about that. But just because he sees how much it's hurting, like the people that he works for, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna say works with, but works for, because he works for the community. He provides for the community, and that's how he feels like giving back. And I looked at $5.19. Think about that. That's like wow for us, and we're bulking at like $4.89 a gallon. You know?
Yeah. Well, Jesse said it's $6.19 out in California. So yeah, everybody's feeling the gas prices around the country. You kind of don't realize how they're happening, and they're kind of like you don't have a choice. They're almost like purchasing air or water. So you kind of just have to go along with it.
That's a really good point of putting it.
You know what I mean? You're kind of just like, I got to go to the store. Oh, it's $100 to fill up this time. Well, I guess it's just part of the deal. But I think I read something that says like the average consumer household is spending $470 more a month right now than they were like 2 years ago on normal things. And so everybody's feeling that. Like my wife will be idling in the car with the kids, and I'll be like, honey,
too much.
We're just gonna have to sweat this one out, you know. And she's
or turn off the AC. And
I won't. And she wins. I'll be like, all right, fine, you can do what you want. You're a woman. But there's other people that are trying to bend over backwards to help people as well. And it's not the government. Actually, they could end a lot of this nonsense by just deciding to drill again and maybe not canceling all the federal leases on the lands or whatever. But why don't you pull up, Tina, what this one gas station guy's doing? I want to give a shout out to the gas station owners that are the real MVPs out there right now. And this dude's earned the reward for it.
Mm-hmm. He's in Phoenix, Arizona.
These pumps are getting a lot of use lately.
This is literally the only place in Phoenix where you can get it under like $5.50 right now.
It's a sign of the times, but driving by a gas station and seeing $5.19 a gallon is a bargain in Phoenix right now.
Finding gas at an affordable price is key.
James McGarry lives right down the street from this station. He comes here twice a week to fill up.
There's no point in going anywhere else.
While people like James are saving at the pumps, the owner is losing money.
I never counted how much we lose, how much we gain, you know.
Jaswinder Singh is buying gas from his supplier at $5.66 a gallon, but he sells it for 47 cents less. Around 1,000 gallons are pumped here each day, so Singh is actually losing out on nearly $500 a day, but he says it's worth it.
To break to the customer, my community, you know. People don't have money right now.
Jeez.
Singh and his wife are
what's
working
crazy
extra
is you
hours
probably
right
don't-
now to try.
You probably don't realize it, you know, in our situation right now. But if you think about it, imagine purchasing a Little Caesars pizza every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes or so while driving, you're purchasing a Little Caesars pizza with your gas.
That's a good way of putting
It's just
it.
like ka-chunk.
Are they still
ka-chunk,
$5? Are they still
ka-chunk.
$5?
Yeah, and they
Little
just
Caesars?
in Little Caesars recently just added 33% more pepperoni or something. I saw a commercial for it for some reason. And I'm just like, dude, is somebody just throwing these pigs at us for like free? It's like
That's what I was-
China's like, yes.
Are
'Cause
these
you know, our
corporations
pork-
doing it on purpose? That's exactly what I
Yeah,
just,
and then
when you said that,
Smithfield,
yeah.
the pork place just closed in California. They closed it because it was too expensive for operating costs.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, California, of course.
California. Yeah. So anyway, so one of the things they're trying to do to combat some of the gas prices right now is they're trying to open up ethanol as one of the as basically to increase the amount of ethanol that goes into the actual gas. Normally, it's supposed to be at 10%. Ethanol is not good for your car, right? So that I want you to pull that up real quick.
Yeah, I have the.
Yeah, so this is something I googled it in 4 seconds because I've known this my whole life, that ethanol can damage many parts of your car at concentrations above 10%, right? So now what did they just do? They just passed something for longer periods of time.
Yep, they passed
basically,
something so
which
that
this isn't uncommon. They've done this before apparently, but still I want you guys to see they're click that. Yeah, so the Biden waiving the ethanol rule in bid to lower gasoline prices. Basically when you does it scroll? Does that one scroll?
No, it's just a
It's just a picture.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing 15%. They're doing 15. Oh, that's what it says. Widespread sale of 15% ethanol blend that is usually prohibited. It says it's only prohibited for a certain amount of time. But either way, there's other people that have also been saying, I don't know if this is conspiracy or not, that they can't smell gas anymore at the pumps.
Yeah, you were saying that, and I was like, you know what?
Maybe
I think,
this is part of it. You know?
Yeah, no. Now that when you said that, because I didn't even think about that, and then when you said that, I was like, yeah, I really haven't been like, you know, gas has a very like distinct scent that you just kind of remember, or if like, I don't know. And that person, whoever said that to you, is right, because now that I think about it, I haven't been smelling it either.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is Biden doesn't really take responsibility. Although Biden said that he was going to take responsibility, it kind of ends up being BS for all the parents out there that like this to be G-rated. Don't pay attention to Christina Aguilera later because that's not going to be G-rated. But for now, I just want to say bull crap. Okay, so he said he was going to take ownership of everything.
Well, let's take a step back in time. We are going to go to 2020. We're going to June 2020. And so I want to read you.
Yeah, so 2 years ago.
Yes.
2 years ago exactly. This is the tweet that he put up. You pull that up, Tina? Or Jesse? Yeah.
Yes. It's hard to believe this has to be said, but unlike this president, I'll do my job and take responsibility. I won't blame others, and I'll never forget that the job isn't about me. It's about you. Or no, wait, the whisper. It's about you.
It's about you. But it's always wrong. It's always like wrong.
It's so,
influxed
like-
when they make him whisper, they're like, this part, you like put it in parentheses in the teleprompter, whisper, and he's like,
I love
okay, is this good enough?
I
And they're
love how
like,
you
this
say
is the
it.
wrong kind of whisper. You know, and he's just like, I didn't rehearse this.
I like how you said that when they tell him to whisper. I feel like that's a thing that he does and he thinks it works.
Oh, maybe.
That's
don't
what I
know.
think.
He
But
just pulls it
but-
out. He's like, I only got a couple different ways to convince him. But I want you to pull up this video of him blaming other people this last week because he's clearly not taking responsibility.
So what is this? You told me what this was called again. What is
AFL-CIO. This is
Thank you.
the meeting at the American Federation of Labor and the Congress of Industrial Organization. It's the largest combination of unions and affiliations in the United States. It's a massive industry. All
Big
the iron
deal.
workers, boiler makers, pipe fitters, electricians, teamsters, all these guys are usually a part of this massive conglomerate called the AFL-CIO that represents all the union workers in the United States that are pissed right now. They're pissed. So why don't you hit?
For all of us, an economy where all of us have a fair shot and a chance to earn our place in the economy. My plan is simple. First, I'm doing everything in my power to blunt Putin's gas price hike. Just since he invaded Ukraine, it's gone up $1.74 a gallon because of nothing.
Before we even go further,
That's what I was about to say.
This dude is so terrible at talking. Just if you listen to it, he's not even. No offense, but like. He's like, even the transitional words that he's using are like lacking. He's like, in the price hike, you've got a transition from power. You know, you're just like, I understood what you meant, but you didn't communicate what you meant. And it's not because of the stutter thing. He wasn't like this 2 years ago. They're probably pumping him full of too much Adderall and he's starting to wear off and not be effective anymore. And they're like, he's on fumes. Like Fast and the Furious #1 in the very first Fast and the Furious where he's pumping the nitrous oxide, but his car's falling apart at the end. He's like, I still got to try to win though. They're just like, we're so close. We're so close to the, you know, to whatever event's going to happen where nobody's going to care about Biden anymore and Kamala takes over or whatever.
I wonder, on teleprompters, maybe you know the answers to this. Teleprompters, do they have exactly what they're supposed to say,
Exactly.
word for word?
Word for word.
Okay, so, because my thought process was, well, perhaps he was just, I was thinking teleprompters might be like note cards.
Nah, you don't want to leave that.
So-
they don't want to leave that to an 80-year-old man.
So
to have
then
note
why
cards.
would they make these transitions?
So difficult for him?
Right.
Well, I don't think they're difficult. I think
is
he
he-
just literally can't speak. I think he's literally to the point where he's like unable to mumble out the appropriate words.
Right, or he can't keep up with it, and so he's just like skipping.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
We
but,
have a
but
few.
but he's already blaming other people though. That's the thing. He says, I'm going to take responsibility, not blame. Bro, you're blaming other people right now. But that's not the only video. We've got another video.
I traveled the world
Like that.
trying to put things back together. You know, Trump did not leave a very good situation. You think I'm kidding? No matter where I go in the world, whether it was the Inter-American Conference we just had for this hemisphere, or NATO, or dealing with the ASEAN countries, or the Far East, guess what? They look at me and I say, America's back. And they look at me and they say, for how long? This is America. We can do any damn thing we put our minds to. And guess what? We're not going back to the false promises of the trickle-down economics.
Yeah. And
We're
so
going forward.
what he really means by America's back is the system where America was funding all of y'all's bullshit and letting you fill your pockets full of stuff, the politicians. That system is back. And we're not going to do trickle-down economics where we cut taxes anymore. We're going to try to make it equitable for everybody, which is a whole new way of basically saying we're going to control everything this time. Don't worry. The free enterprise market's not going to be the way that it was. We're going to keep it down. And they're like, for how long? I think they know, too. But the other thing is, the Middle East doesn't like us. Or, you know, but Saudi loved us, you know, when he was there. They did the whole, like, weird dance with Trump with the swords or whatever that was like a whatever. And he's like, no wonder NATO didn't like us. Yeah, Trump went to all these massive one world government entities and he said, nationalism first, suckers. Nationalism first, which is the way it should be. Because if you have globalism, you basically just have one big nation. And if it gets corrupt, you have nowhere to run. And you just have to go. Like, imagine you leave one country to flee because it gets really bad, as all countries do sometimes. I think we can all agree on that. And then you get to a new one, and it's just as corrupt because it's the same country. He doesn't want that. We don't want that. And so anyway, what were you going to say?
Well, did you catch where he said because of what Trump left him?
Yeah, blaming again.
Yeah. I mean, so how many times has he said Putin? Like, we were talking about this the other day, and we were trying to count how many times recently that he said Putin's
price hike.
Thank you.
I'm trying to blunt the force of Putin's gas price hike.
I swear, I think they think if they say it enough, we're gonna believe it. That's literally what I feel like. Because
Right.
how many times has a press secretary, besides Biden, lately, he's said
Right.
it so many times.
And she's terrible, by the way. The press secretary is like, I think I could do a better job. Fairly often, I will look at her and I'll be like, dude, like, all she's doing is she has been given a list of approved responses, and you can tell there's no teeth behind the things that she's saying. You can tell that she doesn't. You can tell that she's not having conversations where she's like, no, I know they worked on that Thursday because I saw the guy with the paint can and he was actually doing the thing. So they are working on this. Relax. She's like,
Have you seen,
as I said last Thursday, it's actually part of, we are working on that in the Ukraine East section or whatever. And you're like, you don't know what you're talking about, do you? You have the words, but Kelly McHaney.
Oh, she was amazing.
Had the words and knew what the heck she was talking about.
And
dude.
as she was talking,
sharp.
she'd be talking eloquently and knowledgeable. Kelly, I can never pronounce her last name. McHaney?
McHaney, I think.
The way she'd be talking eloquently and going right to her reference. I feel like this lady, I always wanted to just piggyback off what you said. You're like, as we're working on this and we are working on it. And then I'd be like, then her next sentence would be, so we work on it. And they just say,
she's clunky. And you'll see, we'll show a video in a minute of how clunky she is or whatever. But I just don't know how Biden's doing very well. His approval rating is down through the gutter right now. It's at 33%. But let me pull up this chart of all the different stuff that's more expensive right now. Pull up that chart.
So I've got this here. All the price increases in last year based on basics. I mean, gas 44%, airline tickets 33%, used cars 23%. Used cars.
I bet you used cars is up more than 23% now.
I think it probably is. Yeah. But
everything. And if this looks like a 7 or 8% inflation to you, you're crazy. You're crazy if this is 8% inflation.
They keep trying to say that magical 8%, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they'll swallow the camel and strain the gnat. They're like, well.
Yeah, they keep sticking with that. On top of it's Putin. And then at that union meeting, he blames Trump again. I mean, what happened back to that tweet? In 2020, you said if you became president that you were going to take responsibility, right? And I can appreciate that. Can you not appreciate somebody who just F's up and then says,
and then eats
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I don't know. I F'd up. Can you kind of say, all right, I'm mad at you, but all right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. If you own it, like, you know what? Like, even like when I used to deal with recovering drug addicts and stuff like that for a living, like I used to work with these guys. I never cared if they were honest with me. I'd be like, so how many bad things did you do to make sure you got meth that week or whatever? And they would tell me the wildest stories, bro. And I would be like, woo, well, I'm glad you're not doing that. And thanks for telling me, And then if they ever cheated on our farm or anything like that, if they stole chips or they stole like extra time in like video games and stuff like that, because we had like these little rewards they would get, and judge would drop their felonies if they did a certain amount of stuff or whatever. But it was interesting because if they were ever honest, I just didn't care about anything that they did. It didn't bug me. But when you try to always blame someone else, and I'm not even saying that he wouldn't be allowed to blame the previous president for some things.
Right.
You can, but
Something
we're
has to be
2
right.
years into this crap.
Yeah.
No. You're saying it's Putin's fault, but you invaded Putin. Like, or we're the ones pressing on Putin right now. If you look at all these NATO things, NATO broke a lot of the rules that they weren't supposed to break in order for Putin not to do these things that they're doing. And then the U.S. has just basically demanded that they comply with things that aren't compliable. Like, Russia wants to remain independent and not a puppet of the World Economic Forum and the NATO and all these jokers. And yes, Russia does evil stuff. I'm with you. No doubt about it. But we replaced Ukraine's government like less than 15 years ago with people that we wanted there. So let's not pretend that Russia invading them is somehow significantly worse. We did evil stuff to them too. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
there's one thing that a lot of people don't know about. There is a big major city in Russia that's fed by this big waterway. Now, when Ukraine was a part of Russia, obviously they had access to the control to the dams and everything. When it was now Ukraine cut off the water supply to this really big major city in Russia. That was the first city that Russia invaded. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything is justified or not. I'm not going there.
Well, they also said that we didn't have biolabs there, and now they're saying we had like 30 or 40.
I mean,
and so I don't know what to do about that. But
I don't like a communist, but
yeah, I don't like a communist either. But all I'm saying at the same time too is Vladi Dadi. Like, I'm kind of like, every time he says something, like if you've ever watched Vladimir Putin say stuff, I can't help but think that some of it kind of makes sense. He's like, the West is losing all of its Christian fundamental values and it's being overtaken by Marxists. I'm just like,
I mean, he's
Yeah,
right.
that part was true. Or whatever, even though you might do evil stuff. And I know he's done evil stuff, so don't get me wrong. Right. But anyway, look, I want you guys to see the press secretary real quick, though. Pull up that Peter Doocy video with the press secretary.
Oh, gosh.
You guys got to see this because they've been bragging about how good Biden's economy is because he basically shut everything down and then opened it back up and he's getting all the points. It's almost like you told everybody, turn all the lights off. And then you were like, ooh, how much electricity did everybody use that month? Not very much. And then he's like, turn the lights back on. And it's like, wow, I had the biggest electricity usage jump in any president's history. It's like, yeah, because they were all off. You can't take credit after you knock it down. You know what I mean? But so anyway, okay, we're going to pull this video up.
All right.
Thanks, Corrine. President Biden once bragged about the stock market hitting record after record after record on my watch. How about now?
Meaning the stock market.
How about now, brown
How
cow?
about now?
Just that. Okay.
Gains from President Biden's time in office have been wiped out.
So, as you know, we're watching closely. We know families are concerned about inflation in the stock market. That is something that the president is really aware of. And so, look, we face global challenges. We've talked about this. We're not the only country dealing with what we're seeing at the moment as it relates to inflation. Putin's price hike, inflation coming out of a once in a generation.
I'm sorry, but I have to. See?
Yeah.
Putin's price hike? And did she say anything? Did she say anything?
Did she even say sentences? She just, even if you watch, she's literally reading off of what she's supposed to say. They all have cards. Who is writing these things for these people to tell them what's going, like to tell them what to say?
But what is this? When we know...
Like, what? Watch, rewind that part where she says, we're watching. She reads it first wrongly and then goes, oh shit, I'm supposed to be in character. We are watching. And then she recorrects and fixes it.
In the stock market, that is something that the president. We're watching.
Right here.
All the gains from President Biden's time in office have been wiped out.
So, as you know, we're watching closely. We know families are concerned about inflation in the stock market.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
watching
that's great.
closely, and we're not the only country affected. Yeah, we're all in this together, I suppose.
Yeah.
Those things play a factor, but the way that we see this is that the American people are well positioned to face these challenges because of the economic historic gains that we have made under this president in the last 16 months.
Yeah,
So
there's
as you say in
those
America-
world record gains again where he shut everything down and then allowed it to open back up and acts like he created all of the shit that he allowed to open back up. It's like, nah, dog, you told the horses they couldn't run. And then you said, now you can run, and said, wow, compared to where we were, this is the greatest difference in speed ever. It's like, well, yeah, you shut it down.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. They're counting those job numbers of people, like jobs that were there. You told everyone COVID was bad and la 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 la. You sent them home, and now you're saying that the job that they went back to is a new job.
It's a new gain. It's like the record job. Yeah,
No.
you're right. Well, so he calls her out. He's got a 33% approval rating right now. They just put that poll out. I put that picture on the Discord.
Okay.
If you want to show it. But the next thing is the
we
Don
can.
Lemon when she talks to Don Lemon. So everybody's starting to beat up on Biden apparently.
Well, let's look.
You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a 33% approval rating. What was it? Quinnipiac that put that up?
Quinnipiac, yes.
Yeah,
Quinnipiac
Quinnipiac put this out. Quinnipiac, but I think you're supposed to say Quinnipiac. Just seems
Yeah.
like you should. I don't know. Maybe it's a
It does sound better. Quinnipiac does sound better.
Old native thing. Maybe. I don't know. All right, so pull up that
33.
Don Lemon video though, where he asks her a very basic question that seems to be something that all of us are already thinking, but for some reason she acts like it's completely left field. It's almost like when you ask somebody, "Hey, did you cheat on me?" And they're like, "Oh my God, Mike."
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him. We just got back from New Mexico. We just got back from California.
Pause.
That is.
What she means by keep up with him is she and the Secret Service can't figure out where this where this guy keeps roaming off to because he's supposed to say confined and he just keeps going wherever he wants.
Have you seen the Ben Shapiro thing where the Secret Service, it's a
In his
voiceover?
ear?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like, no, he went off the trail. Ah, man, he's going towards the geese or something like that.
Yeah, what? Tell him to take it right. Oh, he passed it. He passed the
Yeah.
opening. He passed it.
We've lost the eagle. What is? But I mean, what is that response? Ha ha ha, Don, you're asking me that question.
Didn't Trump voluntarily submit to a mental cognitive test?
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to be the dude who gets to test this one, but I feel like they're going to bring in the same doctor who did the autopsy for Jeffrey Epstein
Right.
to do his cognitive abilities.
Suicide. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't say that. We can't say that. We can't say that.
Yeah, we can't
But
say he was.
no,
we can't
the-
say he was suicided.
The way she said that, oh, Don, you're asking me that question. She's taking up time so that she doesn't have to. It's because networks have time, correct?
Or yeah,
Like
they
30
have a certain
seconds, you
amount.
have
They have a
30 seconds,
certain
yeah.
amount of time because the people who pay all their advertising bills, which is usually Pfizer, is ready to do an ad, so you only have so much time. So it is
Kellogg's.
smart to take up time. But look, I want you guys to see though, Biden is taking action against people talking bad about him. Okay, he's not just going to let this stuff stand. I appreciate that. He's really getting intense about these things. So he signed a little something into play. Go ahead and bring this up.
This is from
This
the
is
White House.
Yeah, this is from the White House. It's a proclamation on World Elder Abuse Awareness. Okay, you guys are laying it on a little too thick with these claims of dementia as this obviously illness-ridden man is trying to control things. Anyway, thought
This
that
is
was
real.
funny.
This is real.
Yeah, this
by
is
the way.
actually real.
This is real. Do you think that maybe the staffers are doing it almost like an FU to the American people? Like, yeah, we know that you know that he's senile and we're even going to do
Maybe.
this. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like they just keep going further and further.
I feel like that's what they're doing, and they're just like saying, hey, how much can the American people, how much like ha or pointing and laughing can they take?
Yeah, well, it's like when they talk about like the electric cars, they're like, yeah, I noticed I got to drive past all of them in my electric vehicle. And it's like, oh, you mean the one that's powered by coal? Because we went over that last episode.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, we're at the halfway point. We got more to talk about here in a minute. A lot of gay stuff coming your way. It's going to be funny. But before we get into that, guys, we have got massive opportunities right now. Ross Bennett Consulting is fully operational. We are taking on probably 3 or 4 more clients to basically help them launch. If you don't know, if you've got a business, if you've got a brand, if you've got a social media account you're trying to perfect and you really don't know what to do, how to do it, how do you make content that's good? How do you make a legitimate website? How do you get clients? The whole 9 yards. We operate in all of that. I'm willing to bend over backwards to help certain people. If you're in the right kind of niche, just book a consultation. You can go to my website. It's going to be up and running tonight so you guys can look at it. It's going to look all pretty. It's got a facelift. So go to RossduhBoss.com/RBC and book yourself a consultation with me, and I'll help you get up and running. Boom. That's the ad. Okay. Next thing. On to monkeypox. So the monkeypox are still a thing. Believe it or not, they're not calling it monkeypox anymore because that's probably racist, I guess. But like, if you didn't have racist intent when you named something, if somebody else calls it racist, they are the racist. So I don't really know what to do about that. But anyway, I want you guys to see what the World Health Organization is deciding to say right now about whether they're going to consider this an emergency or not. They're going to convene in the next week and determine whether or not monkeypox should be considered an international emergency. We've heard this before, but let's hear it again.
The global outbreak of monkeypox is clearly unusual and concerning. It's for that reason that I have decided to convene the emergency committee under the international health regulations next week to assess whether this outbreak represents a public health emergency of international concern.
Well, I think the answer they're going to arrive at is probably yeah, because why wouldn't they? But the interesting thing about this is that the World Health Organization, that guy, he's actually, if you look up his track record, it's insane. He's in bed with China for sure. That guy's track record is wild. But one of the things that's really interesting about a lot of this is the World Health Organization and the United States praises China's response to these, their vaccine passports. They praise their lockdown on COVID and stuff like that. That's who they say we should be modeling after a lot of the times. But I want you guys to see, well, yeah, pull that up. Just so people don't think I'm lying about the World Health or the America saying that. Remember, it's, what is it, 2 minutes and 55 seconds on that one video before the thing you're about to show?
A controversial study is sparking debate over.
This is the United States. What is it, CNN or something?
That is not a mandate.
Yes,
Other studies have found stay-at-home orders saved millions of lives. And both of our experts say if you want evidence that lockdowns work, just look at China. It now has the lowest COVID death rate of any large nation.
Let's look exactly at what China has done recently. Very recently. Go ahead and bring that next thing up, because this is just outlandishly wild. So, a bunch of citizens in China, the banks froze their accounts, and they were gathering together to go to the bank to protest. The government, because of their massive surveillance state, got wind that they were going to go to the bank and protest to get their own money out. And what the Chinese government did was they changed their health passports, their vaccine passports, from green, meaning allowed to use public transportation, changed it to red so they couldn't go do anything about it.
It's a social credit score. That's what it is.
The social credit score is,
Yes.
this is part of the way that they would have an operational component to that. But that's why we're against the vaccine passports. If you've ever wondered why, this is a wonderful example. And they want to have it here, guys.
The slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope.
They're already kind of doing it here. I think there are some conservative people who basically had like Shopify stores or whatever, and PayPal wouldn't just process orders. They didn't do anything crazy. They were just conservative. They didn't say anything crazy, nothing.
PayPal won't let a lot of different things go through. Like, I don't want to say what, because I don't want to draw more attention to it right now, but there's people that I know that have issues with PayPal right now because the Anti-Defamation League teamed up with PayPal to determine which payments were helping domestic violent extremists. But they changed the definition of what qualifies for domestic violent extremists, and it's anybody that believes in the Second Amendment or thinks that there's legitimate threats coming from outside of the country into the U.S.
Yep.
And so basically that's a blank check for them to write anywhere they want, where they can say you're the thing, right? So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a little update about the World Health Organization and China and stuff that's going on. But in other news, and probably the biggest news right now, we're going to breeze through this section, but it is lots of gay stuff. New York City recently puts out $200,000 of taxpayer dollars to bring drag performers into public schools. Do we have an image anywhere of a drag performer, maybe like Christina Aguilera or something like that?
We could do her. We have of the drag
let's click this. You might have to. Oh my God, it's a dilda. I don't want to say the real word because it's so.
It's a doodah.
Christina Aguilera.
That's Christina Aguilera. That is our generation. If obviously not you, but young women.
That's Chris Aguilera.
That's a good one. But I mean, I don't even know.
Zoom up to her face though.
There she is.
There she is.
It's her. I mean, I didn't even believe Ross. I didn't when I came in. I said no, that wasn't her. She was like singing with it, and it was a drag performer. No, it's her. And
like, guys, this is a.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
This is not pride. This is not a pride thing. This is defiled. It's weird. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what? And like, you know that people follow her that aren't just 40, right?
Right.
But that's okay. If you don't think that they're showing this kind of stuff to children, we've got more for you. Recently at the LA Pride, they were whipping. They were doing BDSM. They were whipping, and they were in like assless chaps whipping in front of toddlers and stuff like that. So this is a woman talking about handing out lube.
It's a drag queen, not even a woman.
I'm sorry. It's a drag queen talking about handing out lube to children.
Happy Pride. We got bandanas and lube and
lube.
We got bandanas and lube. And look at the little kids. They're like, what's that for?
Right.
Mommy?
Exactly.
Right, but that's not even the worst one. There's a worse one.
Yeah,
here it is.
There it is. All right. I don't even like watching this.
Yep, just punishing you.
I mean.
Yep, and what's in the crowd? Let's zoom in here. Oh, it's a 2-year-old. Oh, mommy. Why was that man? Look at her. Look at her. You better not walk in the street. That could be dangerous for
That
your
could
health.
be. Yeah. Well, let's protect the kid there. There's no cars, but sure. The dog.
Oh,
the
look,
dog,
another
the
dog
has-
man.
In leather and S&M.
Oh, it's an 8-year-old.
And you see the
Good
fans?
Lord. If you guys don't think it's perverted yet.
Oh, look at the nipple rings. I never caught the nipple rings
Yep,
before.
that's Jose maybe. He's the strip club's favorite for anything that he's like a guy. You guys remember? You might not have remembered this, and I saw a little bit of the movie. There was like Gamer One, Player One, or something like that. with
Ready
Gerard.
Player One.
And it was like a really gross, fat, sweaty dude pretending he was a girl
Oh.
in the game, and anyway, it was so gross.
Wait, are you talking about Surrogate?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it was-
Surrogate, and he was a girl, and he was making out with this.
with this other guy, and it was just like totally
Surrogate.
fake. I feel
and
like
it was a totally, and it
we're
was like
so
dead.
close. We're
Yes.
so close there. It's so disgusting.
We are.
Everything's greasy and sweaty and nasty. But
Look at the VR that they put on people.
yes,
We're
the
almost
virtual
there.
reality. It's gonna get weird. Meta's gonna be weird. But let's keep going here, okay? Because I want you guys to see. So there was an exposure event that happened. Now you probably heard a lot about Patriot Front, okay? And we're gonna talk about them losers in a minute. Nobody's ever cared about them, but I want you guys to know there was an exposure event. Opens legs and out pops Commando. But bloop, what happened? That's a ding dong, and those were children. Now that was an accident, probably because it came untucked, right?
That's what we have to clarify for people. There are people saying that it was done on purpose. It wasn't done on purpose. It was a tuck.
Yeah, so they had tucked up their junk behind their, I guess back, and then it came untucked and flopped out in front of the kids. Kids saw Johnson. I just want to say this one more time. Kids saw a large male appendage.
And everybody was clapping.
And everybody was clapping. So if you think Christina Aguilera's fake one was weird, there was a real one that also kids saw. This isn't maybe threatening. Okay, so there's that. But what you heard about that event was not about the kids that saw a penis, which is, I think it's illegal for kids to be shown a penis. Even though it was an accident, I think it's illegal for them to, anyway.
Is. Yeah,
anyway, it doesn't matter. If it's an accident, it's probably not illegal. They're probably fine. Everything's totally fine, guys. Whatever. Everything's totally fine. But all you heard about was Patriot Front getting arrested or whatever. But I want you guys to see these losers, right? The Patriot Front losers. But they were coming apparently to riot at this event or to do something that would constitute rioting, which may be, whatever. I don't really know. But I want you guys to see the leader of the Patriot Front, okay? I want you guys to see the leader. Scroll down. Scroll down a little further. His face is at the bottom.
Okay.
I want you guys to see who we're talking about here. All right. Do you guys remember that show, Alaska Frontier, or whatever the heck the name of that show was?
The Last Frontier?
No, yes.
Alaska, the Last
Frontier. But there was
Frontier?
a family that was like, there was like a family group who they all like, give me 5 fingers, man. And they like did weird phrases to each other and stuff.
Oh, no. Yes. I know who you're talking
And
about.
they were like
I know who you're
total
talking about.
losers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is like related to them. Please, for the love of God, Jesse, find what I'm talking about and show a picture of who I'm talking about.
I can't
Because
remember
everybody
their
will laugh.
name.
Because they're just like, this is the caliber of person. So, okay, I'm against rioting. Okay, I'm against hate crimes. I'm against white supremacy stuff. Patriot Front deserves to take a hike. We've been saying this for 2 years, 3 years. Whenever these guys came out, we were like, these guys are clearly losers and are probably infiltrated by the Fed. And they're probably being mandated by the Fed to do these things. Why do I think that? Why do I think that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is probably involved with framing these people? Well, do you guys remember when the governor of Michigan was kidnapped, or there was a kidnapping plot that happened?
Plot.
The plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan. That was the thing. But a lot of the charges got dropped. Why? Because, can you pull this up,
Lawyers,
Jesse?
FBI lured men for Michigan
the lawyers,
governor.
the FBI lured men for the Michigan governor kidnapping situation. The FBI tried to get them to do it, so their case was dropped. So they didn't have any charges.
The 4 men charged with planning to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer were swayed by informants and federal agents who targeted them for their anti-government views, defense attorneys said Wednesday, portraying the men as big talkers and wannabes who never meant what they said.
Yeah, so basically they were like, man, I would probably totally kidnap somebody like that. And they were like, only you swear it, and they're like, oh shit, man, I didn't want to jump off the bridge into the water. They're kind of making me do it, and it's low IQ dudes like this probably
it's
that are
entrapment.
like, or whatever, just like, and that's why we don't believe this stuff so easily. So anyway, obviously the Patriot Front, something needs to be done about it. Okay, I have to say that for the record because we're not cool with this stuff. We'll condemn that. I'd love to hear somebody on the left condemn BLM, though, and Antifa. But we condemn Patriot Front. But at the same time, I feel like the feds gives birth to these jokers, like, all the time.
I think that the feds are part of it, but that's just I think it's the whole thing to, like, show, like, look, see, there are white supremacists. Because we keep saying that, listen.
Right, they couldn't get it with Jussie Smollett. They couldn't get it. It didn't pass the sniff test. So they were like, all right, guys, we really got to come up with something new. Can we put all of our money and attention on the FBI to get them to recruit some jokers?
Wait a minute. Even black people said Jussie Smollett. They were like, oh, no. Like, they were like, listen. I'm not going to say anything, but no. They're like, even black people are like, no. Yeah. Jussie Smollett was a bad plan. But I think the Patriot Front has some sort of, like, I don't know.
It's got to have
very strange. It's like so white supremacist, right?
Well,
like,
yeah, it is. Like they think something about we should have our American roots, and anybody that isn't Euro descent or something shouldn't be here, or something like that.
Right.
At least that's what I was told that they believe. I don't know if that's true. The Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center, which are both hardcore left wingers. So I don't know what's true. All I do know is that we on the real conservative side, and everybody on social media has been calling these guys losers since they first came out in their dumb white masks and their stupid Captain America shields. We were like, these guys are lame. What are they doing? This is going to give bad optics and make everything look stupid and feel stupid, and it'll obfuscate some of the legitimate points we're trying to bring forward. But it doesn't matter. What matters is at this particular junction, had they interrupted that thing, all those kids wouldn't have seen a Johnson. So if they would have let them go, at least they were trying to stop kids from seeing Johnsons. I think that's a benefit, but I can't. But anyway, I don't really have much else. That's your update for the week, everybody. Hang in there. It's getting crazy. It's going to get crazier because the more and more desperate they become to make sure they can control the narrative, the more urgent all of the crap that they're telling you is. So everything's going to become more and more urgent. I was on the Eddie Bravo show the other day. We were talking about this. We were talking about how one day the government's going to be like, the aliens are invading. We all got to put aside our national differences and just come together and, and give all the control and trust to the government so they can defend us from a galactic strike of some sort.
Like Independence Day.
Yes. And I'm honestly waiting for it. I'm like, when is it going to come out?
I guess, but the only reservation I have with that being like, what is it going to be like 9/11 then? That we're going to come together, it's just going to be temporary, and then we're going to go back to this, and then it's going to be 10 times worse when we go back to, you know what I mean? Like how we are now. Like some people bring that up. Like, remember how unified we were after September 11th? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either, because it just seems like the people we would unite around, Elon would be one of the spearheads of that particular operation, and I think he would thwart this. He'd be like, actually, my rockets say that there's nothing that they said. And he's richer than everybody. But you know what's interesting is these billionaires are really starting to play a heavier and heavier role inside of these local politics. George Soros basically won a lot of district attorney seats by putting $2 million into campaign races that normally have $50,000 worth of like investments. Yep. And so he recently bought, because Hispanics are record-breakingly removing themselves from the Democrat ideas and Democrat support. George Soros recently bought the Miami Hispanic radio. My girl, what's her name?
Linda.
No, not Linda. Her other friend.
The other one. Oh, I forgot.
Bella. Yeah, Bella. She comes on Speak Truth Without Fear sometimes. The other show that I have with Jordan Sarmo. If you guys haven't seen Speak Truth Without Fear, go check it out. It's all one word, Speak Truth Without Fear. It's got an Instagram. You can go find our stuff on there. But we bring them on the show sometimes or whatever. But Bella and Linda, Wake Up with Linda, have a really good podcast talking about this stuff. And they're some of my favorite Hispanics. Mm-hmm. You're in the running, though, Tina. You're in the running. And if you guys haven't followed Tina the Cuban yet on Instagram, go to her Instagram right now and follow her so that we can get her stuff pumped up. She puts a lot of good stuff out there. She recently put up a really good article about some local stuff that was happening in Virginia Beach, Hickory, Great Bridge area, Chesapeake, that's happening just locally where what was it? Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
The graphic novel.
The graphic novel.
With the pornographic squeezing of
It's
the boobs.
very, like,
I mean, it's bad. Like holding women down and impregnating them and stuff. Like the images are terrible. And the assistant principal they put together a committee, supposedly a committee. Yeah, they didn't tell us who's in the committee.
Nobody knows who the committee
but
is.
But they're acting like that it's all approved no matter what. It's like, well, the distribution of child pornography is still an actual illegal thing to do. So, and this qualifies as it, and there's a code in Virginia, 18 dot something or whatever.
18.23-374, 374, something like that. That says about
they're not allowed to do
animation that is also included. And the point that I also try to say to people is that graphic novels generally are more expensive than written novels, right? Why? You're always pinching pennies. Government's pinching pennies. Why are you insisting on the graphic novel? Why not the regular written novel? As if that was any better with the content. But hey, we could talk about that. And all you asking for parental consent? Why is that so hard? Nobody's trying to get rid of it. Fine, we don't like it, but parental consent, a form. That's impossible to them.
Yeah, I think we ought to say some more about this. I think we ought to get involved a little bit and shame them. But anyway.
Exactly.
Well, guys, this one was kind of intense. It was a lot of information. But it's all good. You guys have a great week. We'll see you again in a week. Share this, please. Subscribe. Do whatever you can. And we'll keep coming back for more and more. God bless everybody.